Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
This is the Red Kingdom Media Live POSTGAME Show.
Welcome in on this Friday, Black Friday edition of the Red Kingdom Media Live postgame show, where in Week 13, your Kansas City Chiefs are able to defeat the Las Vegas Raiders with a score of 19-17. And, well, a lot of this is probably going to go negative because of the nature of how the game was, and another close call and another game that narrowly goes to the Chiefs through some miraculous final play or a call from God, whatever excuse you want to put on it, an NFL script being written, the refs on our side, insert the storyline that you want to say. But your Kansas City Chiefs are officially playoff bound with only 12 games into the season. They have already locked up the first playoff spot. Obviously, we got to go through the rest of the year to figure out the seeding, but your Chiefs are the first and only team right now from the AFC side to officially clinch a playoff spot. And it seems almost inevitable, but the AFC West is for the taking as well, as they have only 2 more games left to go. And the hardest matchup of the two against the Los Angeles Chargers is officially our Week 14 game that we'll be discussing. All that being said, the Chiefs continue to limp their way through a game. And fellas, I'd argue for the last 4 games now. One game the Chiefs did lose outright, but I would figure the last 4 games, the Chiefs have not deserved to come out ahead in these games and have not played up to the level that would warrant winning those games either. The Chiefs had a lot of plays go their way this game, and up until towards the end of the game, the Chiefs defense was trying to hold a 3 on the board for pretty much the entire game, and the Chiefs thought they could just needle their way into a victory with a bunch of field goals. And they were, but it wasn't a positive look here, and it was a very narrow outcome for the Chiefs to come out ahead and win this game. I believe the Raiders had 3 field goals that were not made in this game. So if you just flip any of those, that alone right there is enough to give the Raiders the win, and they don't have to do their mad scramble towards the end of the game under 2 minutes like the Raiders ended up doing. But again, this Antonio Pierce-led defense continues to give the Chiefs offense troubles. And for various times, Aiden O'Connell has done a number on Spagnuolo. And for the first couple drives, it was, again, find the target, throw it at that guy, and watch the receptions and the points roll in. But once that particular player stopped getting picked on, then you started to see, a group of 2 or 3 players, and the Raiders started to feed their number 1 target in Brock Bowers, and he almost single-handedly gave the Raiders the win in their favor as well. So all that being said, you guys make your way around the table. What are your thoughts on this narrow escape of a win, but officially pushing the Chiefs into the playoffs and narrowly wrapping up the AFC West as we speak?
Yeah, so I'm excited that we're making the playoffs, but I think I feel just like all the rest of the Chiefs Kingdom that this team is nowhere near where they need to be. to be heading into the playoffs. We are very far from that. I think we are a microcosm of ourselves of what we were at the beginning of the season. We are not the same team that we were. We're kind of like a limping dog here on defense and a limping dog on offense. We have weak spots all over, and teams are starting to exploit those. The Chiefs have some big things they have to go to the drawing board and figure out. Like you said, they were able to sneak out with, we can really say 3 victories since the Broncos game. They've really been supposed to probably lose some games there, and they've been able to flip it and just win them miraculously. So the Chiefs have really been the benefactor of some good luck. Really holding on to that rabbit's foot still. I don't know how many more they still have. Obviously, they got a lot because, like I said, they get a botch snap here at the end of the game and win the game. But I don't think the Chiefs played up to par. However, I did see, just as far as bright spots, I love what I've seen from Xavier Worthy and what I've seen from DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins is extraterrestrial. Like Clinton, you get to sit there and see it front row. But I think DeAndre Hopkins has to come back for another year in the Chiefs jersey. And we have to be able to see that for a full year. Like, we've never seen with Mahomes with somebody of that caliber before, and we hear a lot of people talk about his hands, and it's like folklore in the NFL until you get it on your team and you're able to see it for yourself. Mahomes throws the ball super hard, and people can barely catch it with 2 hands. DeAndre is snaring it out of the air with 1 hand, like a He-Man. So, like, I mean, it's just like it's amazing. If it's not Randy Moss and Tom Brady, it's got to be close to it. So I love what I seen from them. Didn't like what I seen from so much from the defense, but we were able to get pressure. And the secondary just has to really figure some things out. We mentioned Jalen Watson, but overall, good team win, good enough. But we better be prepared for the Chargers because they definitely noticed what the Raiders noticed this week.
That effortless one-hand catch by DeAndre Hopkins, even though it wasn't a touchdown, I was impressed. And I know they're not playing well, but it's just, once that offensive line gets it together and they put, DJ Humphries out there and they start building that chemistry, you have that veteran experience up there. He has more time in the pocket. It's going to be very fun. And for them not to have the weapons that they started off with during the year, for the beginning of the year, and missing out on Rashee Rice and then Hollywood Brown, it's like, damn, what will they have once they all come back? That's why I understand what you're saying, bringing him back for another year, because we would like to see that, because that would be definitely one of the best wide receiver units that we probably had in Chiefs Kingdom. But overall, excited about the win. No, hold on. Not excited about the win. Just glad that we got the win and we clinched the playoff. But at the same time, a win is a win at the end of the day. So you just, glad to get out of here with that. But you definitely know that it's some things that we have to work on. I did see a little bit something better when Joshua Williams was out there at corner. He had his moments as well too. He was able to attack the ball at times, but you still saw them at moments get cooked as well. So it's like maybe get that addressed. But getting Nazeeh Johnson out of there, I think it did help a lot for them to kind of switch back and revert back, because I was kind of someone who wanted to see more Joshua Williams, because he was in those games throughout the last 2 seasons, being a part of that and being a part of those Super Bowl wins as well too. So it's like, why did you skip him in the first place? I think he was the one who needed to lose his position, and I think we was going in on a Nazeeh Johnson hype, but unfortunately that killed off, and then we saw a little bit more of Keith Taylor, seen Jada Hicks out there a lot as at safety as well too. We just need to come. We need to figure it out. We need to figure it out. But with Charles Amino Hill getting back there, you seen that Chris Jones was able to get his 2 sacks. So maybe with him being back out there, it helps out a little bit with what we have going on. Maybe get more of a pass rush. But hey, we got it. We got through with it. Got to win. They figure it out. But we got time. We got time until we get our Sunday night football matchup against the Chargers. And, with those games, it always comes down to the last possession as well, too. So you're getting prepared for those moments when you get to the postseason. I will say that. But I think it's frustrating that we're doing it against inferior teams that are definitely not on our level.
Yeah. And Dale, we should have known something was up, because this is the 3rd game the Chiefs have played against a divisional opponent. And all of those games have been sub 20 points. On both teams. So we should have known something was up when we're playing a division rival, that neither team was going to be putting up the fireworks that we were hoping to see here on Amazon Prime. I'll put a couple good notes out there before we unfortunately start to tear away what this team is up to. Chris Jones is officially 4th all time in Chiefs in sacks. So way to shout out to CEO Chris Jones. Obviously, we want you to get a couple more. It was nice to see you come out and perform well this game. And hopefully that continues the rest of the season, because you can tell the difference on the scoreboard and how the defense plays when you start to see the defensive line get the pressure. And Dale, I completely agree with you. I think Charles Omenihu being back literally sparked that very first Chris Jones sack where the two are lined up against right next to each other, and you start to see the spring happen. So I'd like to see that continue, obviously. Let's see. Patrick Mahomes officially has the most passing touchdowns for a Chiefs quarterback, officially passing the legendary Len Dawson. So shout out to him there. It was good to see that. But other than that, this game was rough. The offense could do, various points, jump ahead like they're used to, but once you get this team in the red zone, it is a struggle. And a lot of drives this game that just had nothing. When the Raiders started to get their mojo here and started to make their trek back and it eventually have the lead against the Chiefs, the Chiefs opted to just nonstop throw the ball incomplete, basically killed all the momentum they had and left all that extra clock in the third quarter where the Raiders had it. And then as soon as the fourth quarter was underway, they immediately scored right back. So the Chiefs were very, it's the best word, they were not opportunistic with their approaches. They consistently got themselves in a hole. And, we got to, it's time to start getting into the ugly here. The offensive line, to the point where Joe Tooney gets put in for those final drive as left tackle, and it still didn't solve anything, did it, Dale?
Nah, not much. I mean, you seen him hold up a little bit more, but once they started getting comfortable within their pass rush and settling, it was nothing much you can do after that. So
we were begging for DJ Humphries to officially play, and I think we all kind of knew he was not going to play this game. But boy, did it scare the team to know that he is playing against the Chargers next Sunday. There is no doubt in my mind he is playing and he is starting, because Andy Reid does not like what he sees, and Patrick Mahomes does not like what he sees. For a quarterback who doesn't specifically take a lot of sacks or get sacked often, this last month has been atrocious for Patrick Mahomes, to the point where he has 2 seconds or less and he's getting sacked immediately. And yeah, it's the left side, but also it's the right side, but also it's up the middle. It's everywhere. No matter how good of a player that we've hyped, it's the entire unit. The offensive line is always classified as an entire unit. So we can say it's tackle problems, and that's not necessarily wrong, but the entire unit needs to shape up, because Max Crosby was just choosing where he wanted to line up on every play and either getting to Patrick Mahomes or drawing the false start. Or it was embarrassing. So the offensive line was something that Brett Veach identified as something to fix immediately after that Super Bowl 55 loss. It's clear that we should have made a couple more moves, because the Chiefs basically decided Kingsley is their tackle before they ever saw him officially take on any NFL talent. And then they realized within 5 weeks, he's not the guy for this year. So then they're like, well, hopefully our second option, Wanya Morris, can hold up. And he's done all right, but then he's got injured and then he gets exploited again. So there's no good option. The Chiefs were able to limp their way through with a veteran left tackle who didn't necessarily play great, but was solid enough. And at this point, the Chiefs again are just asking for their offensive line to play solid enough. So that's we're going to get into that more when we offensive defense, but that just needed to get thrown out there. That for a quarterback like Mahomes, who is not sacked often, he's getting sacked in bunches in the last few weeks, and that needs to clear up and clear up fast. All right, and then my final point overall, guys, it has been a tough season so far. Other than a week 5 and week 7 matchups versus the Saints and Niners, every single Chiefs game where they won has been within 7 points, like a narrow margin. The Chiefs cannot stop. Like, the Chiefs right now are the Pittsburgh Steelers of Ben Roethlisberger days. A team that would play down to a 2-11 team standards and make them feel like they had a chance in the game. And maybe they'd blow it, maybe they wouldn't. But what you were talking about before we started, Dale, about wanting to be the Patriots dynasty and winning 30-10 every game, the Chiefs do not want to do that. And it sucks for a fan, because you look at both of those units and you say individually, you could be dominant. You could be top 10 in the league, top 5, top 3. But this fundamental complementary football that gets talked about every single week, it's not happening, dude. It is not happening for this Chiefs team right now. And it needs to get worked on, because they're just playing to their standards. Last week against the Panthers, it was a passing clinic on both teams.
Mm-hmm.
And this game, how many rushing attempts did we end this game with? Because I told you before
16.
Pacheco, 16 total rushes, guys.
Not enough.
And I told you before that big Pacheco pop run, they had 10 yards through about 3/4 of football.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid is reverting back to what he knows best, and what he knows best is not working right now. This was the team last year that we said we need to start relying on the rushing game and start leaning on that. And towards the postseason, we did see that, but not right now. And it'd be the easiest vanilla thing to do, guys. I have asked this team to wake up the last 3 weeks, because they are playing down to their opponents, and they're not taking, this three-peat serious like we hope they will. They can continue to play down to this level that they should be well above. And the fact that we're still struggling in these areas, and we're making these boneheaded, like, just go back to what we're used to decisions. Rod will talk our ear off to death. If he was in the comments, he'd be spouting off right now. He's saying it's Matt Nagy's fault, offensive coordinator's fault. And, every single time we go over this, Andy Reid is not allowing an offensive play to happen that he didn't personally choose. I'm sorry. It could be an offensive coordinator issue. Last year, we thought it was a wide receiver coaching issue or coaching issue in general. I would like Andy Reid to start flipping the switch and say, it's go time. But until he gets a smack in the mouth, he's not going to do it. Last year was Christmas. This should have been Christmas. This was almost Christmas. And what's the Broncos game 4 weeks ago was almost that. And the Bills game where you lost and didn't try to win and just checked that game off as a do not care.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been a wake-up call. And the Panthers giving you a close call should have been a wake-up call. And they still don't. Like, it's kind of ridiculous to me. And we're gloating about our team being 11-1, but I'm not satisfied with about half the games they've played on their schedule. And you've got the Chargers coming up next. The one nice thing about this is that you have 2 extra days to sit at home and rest up while the Chargers go and take on somebody else this coming Sunday. And then the Chargers will be coming here Sunday after that. So you get a tiny miniature bye. But that ain't going to do anything. Like, 2 extra days to get a brand new left tackle acclimated into your offense. And if you don't, then we have to rely on who we've been playing, which gives you just as much concern. Like, the Chiefs are vulnerable right now, and they can try to disguise it and kind of mimic their way through everything. But I think all of us realize this, and the fact that they don't have that self-awareness yet, it's like, which of these games is going to be the game they get caught? Because if it doesn't happen in the regular season, the fear is going to go directly into the postseason unless they show us something different.
All right. So I'm gonna be honest. You're not gonna put me in that boat with y'all because your pessimism made me more optimistic, and that's why me and Clinton work. He didn't put some type of fire to make me just be like, you know what? You're gonna be wrong. Nah, but for real. This game, like this, while you was talking, I was like, my optimism started creeping in. I was like, maybe they needed to get beat up like that on O-line because maybe they wanted to say, like, you know what, Wanye, either you're going to go out and try to ball out before this is your last start, or you're going to do what we expect you to do. And this is going to prove why we went out and got who we needed to go get anyway. So when I look at the offense, he's not having time, but this is where I think Rod's coming in with the Matt Nagy. Yeah, the play calling can be questionable, and that's along with Andy Reid as well, too. But it's no fire. Eric Bieniemy, he got in their tails. He got in their tails. You said you need to wake up. If you're not playing to this level, you're out. And you're going to see. And you see I hit my earphone. I'm that mad. So, truthfully, I think it's just like you're letting Mahomes – I know he's a $500 million quarterback. I know he's been with the team for 7-8+ years now. And, he's been a starter, ever since after Alex Smith left, and you're just letting your star quarterback do what he need to do. That's what, Tom Brady and them did at times, right? But you know what? Tom Brady didn't do that all the time because guess what? Andy Reid, because you can do this as well, too. This is still my team at the end of the day. You're not playing to the level I need you to play at. I need you to play a lot smarter. I need you to wake up because us being 11-1, that's just us being the big bad wolf still. We know how to win and we know how to get games. But if we play at this level and somebody catches in the playoffs, that's one and done and we're out of there. So you have this time. We got about 5 games left. You have this time to see what you're going to do as a collective group. Something has to give. You have Noah Gray out there flashing with Travis Kelce. That's looking awesome. It's like, I'm like, well, we need to run through them a little bit more. I mean, we're not seeing as many drops as we've seen last season. Xavier Worthy up there routing people up, but he's not just speed. He's getting open as well, too. D-Hop with his hands. Everything is there for you to be a great offense. What is not letting us be a great offense, y'all? Excuse me. We're having penalties. Who the penalties being committed by? Offensive line. This team. One group can do it. What I say every time with the penalties. Now I'm going crazy. Every time. Once we get it holding, 10 yards. Oh, they jump. Every time it kills the drive.
And
What
the sad
happened?
part, Dale, is in 2018, 2019, the Chiefs could be in 3rd and 20, and they convert it.
And he still have done it earlier in the season as well, too, than they got, but I understand. But who is the issue? Y'all saying, damn, they are just trash up front. I'm going after him. I don't care. All type of pressure. And usually he can escape that. They're locking up all potential holes. They said, no, we got the outside cover. We got the inside. You're going to have to sit there and take a sack. We're not letting you do that anymore. So guess what? Why you're not helping the left tackle who's getting beat up? You got to go into that moment. I'm sorry, Kelce. You need to go ahead and bump him and then get out to the flat or do something, find something up the middle. You got to find it. Y'all just saying, nah, we're just going to let them go out there, put them out on the hill and die. Like, we're just going to put them out there and we're just going to let you die and figure it out. Like, bro, you keep on playing like this, Mahomes won't make it to the postseason. And then we're really going to be sick. Then Carson Wentz is going to have to pull some Nick Foles, what he should have did in the first place. You know what? That might be the story I want at this time. Everybody getting mad now. I don't care about the 3P anymore. We're this upset after a loss, y'all. I mean, after a win.
That's right.
But look, I think we got to talk about this too. This was coming. This was in the making, and it was coming. And we all, we do, like, we're talking sports. We watch the Chiefs. The position that we're talking about has been a revolving door since when? You all.
Learning Brown left, and he
No,
was
since
only there for
Eric
2
Fisher
years.
and
went
Mr.
down.
Schwartz walked
Yeah.
out the door.
Well, he was cool with Learning Brown for like 2 years, but you're right.
You
But we
only
gave
had him as a loaner.
technically
It's
once
been
it started
a
with
revolving
him.
door
Yeah.
since Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher walked out of the door. It just hasn't caught up to us yet, and it just caught up to us. It's fine. It's okay. But you all know, just like I know, we haven't paid a left tackle. We haven't. We've been
Dale,
getting away with it for years.
To
And
your
it's
point
okay.
about just letting Wanya Morris get picked on, you didn't consider Wanya Morris your first option when you went into the season in week 1.
Yeah.
You were going to let Kingsley get his
Yeah.
ass handed to him. And you were like, oh, no, that's really bad. We'll just see what it looks like when Wanya gets his ass handed to him. That's a backup.
But you know, it's going back and forth in the offseason because, you know, before we got Kingsley, I was like, you might as well let it rock out, right? Because Lonnie complaints was consistency. We wasn't letting nobody stay there. Then Kingsley beat up the first 2 weeks after you saw him against rookies, and you're saying like, dang, he really is not holding up against the great pass rushers in the league, and you automatically made that switch to Wanye because he did it last year, right, when he had to come in, and it's not working out like it was supposed to. So that's why it's like it was going back and forth. And you know, yeah, go ahead, Lonnie.
I get what you're saying, but I just want to say this: we all looking for somebody to blame, and we really can't put it on nobody. And if we really want to be technical, we got to put it on Veach. He knows what we have coming into the season. He banks on some of his talent. We know who guys that he doesn't bank on, just like what we're going through in the secondary. Spags drafted all 5 of those guys in the secondary. So if they weren't able to pick nobody up, what that mean? They're going to play because we spend draft picks on them. And we've seen him play before. So, I mean, if we want to plant the blame at anybody, he gets the praise when he's making the right moves. But when he makes the wrong ones, we want to blame everybody else. No, maybe we should have went.
Well, he have a chance to make it up. Yeah, he does. He has a chance to correct it. And he always gets a chance to correct it. And it hasn't come back to bite him ever since he's been our GM. He's been going to Super Bowls. He's been winning. In the year that he lost his left tackles, he didn't really see it coming. His line was dismantled going into the Super Bowl. So it hasn't really come back to bite him. This might be the year that it comes back to bite Beach, though. You gotta watch what you're doing, and you have to invest into certain positions that are very vital to your team. Secondary and offensive line are very vital to your team, especially when you're going to be ahead and you're going to be blowing people out, and people are going to be scared and they want to throw the ball against you. Of course, you're going to have good secondary players all through your secondary. They want to score 20. They're not trying to kick field goals. You're going to have a good offensive line. You're trying to throw the ball 50 times a game. So you can't have inferior talent on your tackles at your tackles position. You have to have good tackles, at least half decent. They don't do that. The Chiefs didn't do that. They had lackluster players over there, and now we get the results that we're getting, and people are upset. No, go sign better talent, spend some money at that position, invest in the position, and then it will pay off. You pay $400 million for a quarterback. Maybe if you spend half of that at the tackle position, you will have a better player out there. So let's talk about the real.
I think their thing is to be a good left tackle, and to get one at a good price, you have to get him in the first round, and the Chiefs are not in a spot ever for the rest of this dynasty in a position to get one of the top 4 left tackle prospects in any NFL draft. So you're always going to be taking a gamble on a player. 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round picks. Late first round if you can trade in there. Or getting somebody else's player they didn't choose to pay. That's who your options are.
And this is my challenge to Veach. Will you throw bodies at position until you got somebody that worked? You throw bodies at that position until you get something that works. You don't continue to not draft at the position or draft 1 or 2 players and say this is going to work. No, you throw bodies at that position. You go sign people.
Unfortunately, that's not how an offensive line is made up, because you have players who are direct backups. You can't have 4 left tackle people just in case something goes wrong.
No,
you have to have backup guards in the back.
That's not what I'm saying, Clinton. You don't have to.
I know. I'm just saying for roster makeup.
I understand, but you don't have to just play left tackle in injuries offense. You can play guard. You can play center. You can play.
No, that's why we always
you get drafted as an offensive lineman when you get drafted to the Chiefs, just like you get drafted as a defensive back when you get drafted to their secondary.
Yeah,
so that falls on them. They need to get bodies at that position and be able to have some answers.
We like versatility. We definitely like versatility, and when we was having a conversation, we talking about the late first round. Where we say now, I think what I'm saying when we say go challenge Beach, right? And in those moments, okay, say we do get by this year, right? We're able to complete what we try to complete. That's cool, but we still know there's a need. DJ Humphries is 30 years old, won't be that long-term solution that we're looking for, right? So we're pick 32. We're saying it's top 4 left tackles, right? Say if it's a good year where it's a lot of talent, wide receivers, right? We can probably have some fall in that mid draft. Are you okay with trying to sell your soul? I'm not talking about all the way, but to get to like pick 15, pick 16, just to get the left tackle for the future with what we got already. Are you comfortable with that? Both of y'all. That can be an answer for both of y'all. Like, how would y'all feel?
Yes, and I think
yes,
the
'cause I
Chiefs are also comfortable. I just don't think they're going to be in a spot where they can physically do that. Because I feel like the past couple seasons, we've asked them to do that exact same thing. And we can go look at the NFL draft order and see, oh, this is where their line was. This is the last guy they thought would have potentially been in that spot. And he got taken already. So they didn't even try. But going into last year's draft, we said they need a left tackle, Left tackle is a player they need to take for the first round pick. They take Xavier Worthy. Were we upset by that choice? No, because
We wanted
everything
that too,
hedged on
though.
the potential of the second round pick of Kingsley. We wanted the explosiveness of Xavier Worthy and the combine breaking and all that other stuff. But it was like, okay, no, we got left tackle in the second round. We're fine. We're good. Everyone eased right after that.
But it's clear.
That's
But
look,
you go
I'm
off
saying,
of the
maybe-
spot. Like the spot isn't it. Like the spot is what you assume it to be. You can't assume that type of stuff. Like
You
the Chiefs
can't.
can start taking a tackle at pick 32 and 31 and 29 every single year until it works. But
can't.
it normally is a right tackle because that's the player caliber that's there at the first round based on how it's identified.
But it was
my
under-
question to you is then, if we can't take a tackle every year and you can't figure out how to get a tackle, what is your answer? Because you have a $400 million quarterback. You are listen, and Clinton is a season ticket holder. You do not want to continue to go to the games and see us get obliterated on offense, him not be able to get a pass off. What is the answer then? Because you can't go sign anybody for $100 million. You can't go get the next best tackle on the market. That's just not the space that you're operating in. You're operating in a space where you have to get players that just didn't so happen to work on their teams, or something went wrong, or like a DJ Hunt. Those are the players that you're having to pick up, and that's not going to continue to work.
We gotta go further into the game, but all the thing is, it's just like more so. Last year we had two people. We had two positions in need. Xavier Worthy was the best option. You kind of got weapons surrounded everywhere now. You got running back room that's good. You have a wide receiver room that's good with two guys that's going to be there on their rookie contract still and still can work some guys in. Your glaring need is left tackle. So I think it's right there. It's like, what are you evaluating throughout the whole offseason for a left tackle? Now, I think the focus mainly is going to be that. I think it's like, okay, now this is the biggest need of them all. I see it now. I'm awakened. We got to get through this year. That's why we did this one. I know. I tried. But now we know what we got to do now. So you'll be fine. You got to chalk it up and just take it there next offseason. But we got to figure out for the rest of the season. That's it. That's all we can say. All I'm saying. Leave it at that.
And we'll leave it open-ended, but all I'd ask is, would you or anybody in Chiefs Kingdom feel comfortable if what happens is they have to take Jawan Taylor and put him at left, because no person they can get next year is a left tackle. So guess what? We're putting somebody new at left tackle, and it's sort of a retread, but doing what we had talked ourselves into all along. It's the guy we're paying $20 million a year for the offensive line. So put him at the most important position and make him be the most important. So if that's probably what they're going to do, unfortunately, but that's probably how it will end up. So let's shift back, because that was a fun 15-minute rant about the tackles.
It was
I'm sure
important.
we'll talk about them more during the course of this. All we're saying is they better not be the reason why this team falls short of their expectations. That's
because we
that's
know
all
early
we're
on. We know early on. We know it's not the AFC Championship game we won before the Super Bowl. You got 2 weeks. We know.
Correct. We're
We know.
identifying problems early and fast, and Chiefs are just choosing when to make it urgent on their part.
Right.
Okay, so obviously we think the defense performed the best out of the two, except for starting to derail there towards the end of the game. But who are the standouts for you on offense? What'd you like about that? Obviously, y'all threw out D Hop as an alien, so you're already assuming Lonnie's choice. But go ahead.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's who I'm going with. D Hop. Like I said, he like Clinton said, he has to be the second coming to ET. I mean, I don't know what this man is a straight absolute alien. Hands are super duper big. Like I said, I thought a lot of the stuff around the NFL was folklore about DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't think I know I've seen a lot of the stuff that he used to do, but seeing it on a consistent basis on your team, and even on some plays that don't even count, you just kind of see like the flashes. It's like, oh my God, what he's doing and like the spark that he's providing for that offense is like crazy. That's usually somebody like Kelsey that's doing that type of crazy stuff. But I love what I've seen from DeAndre Hopkins. That may have been why Andy Reid decided to throw it all over the yard this game and get away from what he should have been doing, which is rushing the ball. Because when you seen Pop do what he did, we hadn't had any juice like that in the offense and really in a long time. So really missed him a lot too. But I think DeAndre was a little microcosm of why I think Andy Reid tried to throw the ball all over the field. DeAndre had a day. He was all over Jack Jones, making him look crazy, spinning him around, spinning him like a top, catch snatching on him, getting pass interferences. He had a day with Jack Jones. Don't stare down Mahomes anymore. You'll get picked on. They're going to remember your name now for all those PIs that you got. Because he made a point to throw at Jack Jones today. And I like that. I love what I've seen from DeAndre, though.
For me, I'm going to go ahead. Man, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins too easy, but I'm gonna give a shout out to the tight ends, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray. Travis Kelce started out hot against the Raiders, was tearing them up, and then second half kind of dwindled down a little bit, but he still had his moments. And then Noah Gray, he just continued to find his way, and find the connection that he has between him and Mahomes. Keep that up. I think that's going to be that's going to be something significant to look out for when it comes to the postseason, because in those moments when you need a first down or you need a touchdown and your second tight end is stepping up, and the guys that you are looking for, like your Travis Kelce, D Hop, are able to still do that as well too. That's always some great great additional weapons that you need during that time. So shout out to Noah Gray. Keep on working, boy.
Not my official choice, but shout out to Mahomes, who was able to just eat those 5 sacks again. No, turnover worthy throws, 300 yards, got the touchdown. Should have got a couple more once we got in the red zone. But, Mahomes did his normal thing. And, the elephant that we've already talked about, if his offensive line does better, then, he puts up 2 more touchdowns, another 100 yards, or maybe another 50 yards. And the person that I'm giving my vote to, Isaiah Pacheco, way to make a statement in your first game back. Got 4 yards on your first carry, and Arrowhead goes absolutely nuts because we're just thankful to have you back. And we would have thought the idea of an Isaiah Pacheco and a Kareem Hunt backfield would just be absolutely dominant. But Andy Reid, unfortunately, did not believe so and only gave them the ball combined 14 times, 7 apiece. I believe we've had several conversations where we'd like those carries to be up into the 20s if you can. And going against a 2-10 Raiders team, why would we not run it on them and prove that we're superior? Unless, guys, it is because we know that we're not anymore. It used to be our offensive line was the spark that got us these giant rushing yards and all that allowed Andy Reid to trust it. But unfortunately, that's not the case right now. I think the next time the Chiefs line up in Arrowhead in 2 Sundays from now, I think they're going to rely more heavy on the running game. And I think they're going to, ease. If we're assuming, which I think we all are, that DJ Humphries is stepping in at left tackle immediately, they're going to want to ease him in. And I think, running with Kareem and Isaiah is a good way to do that. Not just throwing him into fire in those pass sets right away, but just run the ball down your throats. Because, Dale, you said we would love games like that. We're old Chiefs fans. It's fine if we have to win a defensive game. That's fine.
I
But
didn't
the
feel
Chiefs-
defensive.
Yeah, but the Chiefs team doesn't have their identity still. Like they didn't have an identity until after they got their ass handed to them last year in Christmas. So, I feel like it's going to take another slap in the face before they figure out what their identity is. This is a team that knows they're playing until week 20 in an NFL season. And even though it's week 13, it's like, oh, it's not late enough yet. Other teams like the Jets are already considering what their first round pick's going to be. And the Chiefs are like, oh, do we pass or run it here? I don't know. What are we better at? So something needs to get cleaned up. And I think we're all hoping that the one move that's coming is enough to be that spark. But if it's not, it's going to be another painful incremental process to get through this. So shout out to Mahomes and the running backs for doing what you could, even though you may have not been given the best to work with. So let's go ahead and jump over to the defense. And I already claimed this player, and you guys have already talked about him. I'm going first. I called out Chris Jones. I acknowledged the efforts that he had been putting in, just not seeing it on the stat sheet. He finally got to appear on the stat sheet several times this game, made several impacts. And Charles Omenihu being right there next to him was a major catalyst that was able to spark that kind of production from Chris Jones. He had 2 sacks. You argue he could have had 2 other ones, how that game was going on. The Raiders could not stop Chris Jones throughout this whole game. So I would like to see more of our defensive line play to this level. And once Chris Jones started going, that, George Karlaftis got that next one. So I want to see this pressure continue. It was clear we were home. We're the only game on right now. It's a divisional rival. We needed to turn up the intensity. We didn't necessarily do that for the Panthers last week, but we decided to do it versus the Raiders this week. And it was fortunate that they were able to hold them to just enough. And I pointed that out to start this game. The Raiders kicked 4 total field goals and only made 1 of them. So if you convert any of those field goals, the Raiders come out ahead. And the first 3 points the Raiders had, they were down at the 2-yard line and got sacked and had to walk away with a field goal on that drive. Like, that's pretty demoralizing. If that was arguably one of the worst drives the Chiefs had as a defensive unit, then you can't be, can't raise hell about it. Like, it is what it is. We can want these divisional matchups to be 30-point wins, but they're going to be these inching it out, a field goal at the end to kick it, to win it, or to not lose, or whatever the case. It's going to be close no matter what. We just have to accept it.
I think because I'm gonna give my standout for the defense real quick as well too. But you made a good point. It's like, if the worst drive of the game is we're getting them up to the 2 and we're leaving on a sack, and then they only give up 3 points and giving up 2 touchdowns after that, it's kind of what you've seen in the games beforehand, right? Like, we're keeping people under 20 points. I think what's frustrating with the defense, what we're seeing now, is the offense is not playing as great, so they're still within 1 possession of a score. You're giving up easy yardage and passes down the field to where they're getting down there very quick. Well, I was saying that while you was leaving already. I was like, whoa, they got there quick. Great for that fumble, and we were able to recover it, and we're able to sneak away with a win. But I think it's where we're not going to give up as much, even when we get to the postseason. We know Buffalo did that already, but y'all giving up in these moments where they can go downfield and kick a field goal and kill the clock, and that's what's going to beat us. And that's what teams are going to try to take as well too. So we're going to have to get more discipline in that. But for my standout on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go ahead and Nick Bolton. It was a lot of times he was in there, blew up the play, was able to beat those rookies out as well too with the guard and center combo. Was able to get a couple of tackles for a loss as well too, getting back there and just making that collision. He did his part. We needed him to wake up on that, and I think in those moments they saved us a lot as well too. And when coming in for those blitzes as well, of course they could get there a lot quicker, but at least they were trying to make some type of effect on the quarterback, right? Getting in his face, and I've seen a bunch of that. So he had a terrible game last week. He had a better game this week, but we're gonna need that run defense to get a little bit more efficient, get it going, because the Raiders, they're not even that great of a rushing team, and for that to happen in some of those moments of those big runs and keep them to drive alive, we definitely could have improved on that. But shout out Nick Bolton for the couple of plays that you made in the game.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give mine to somebody in the secondary. I wanted to give to one of the linebackers because Tranquil played a hell of a game today too. Just getting a lot of PBUs, playing like a safety. That safety experience from college really showed up today, Drew. But I'm gonna give it to Joshua Williams, a real secondary player. We had a fish today in the secondary. They found him just like they found that guard against the Broncos and blocked that kick. Najee Johnson is a fish, and he was getting fried. He was on milk cart last week. He's off the milk carton this week. Looked like he got returned. They found him, I think, and they done put him back on the shelf. So, and Joshua Williams emerged. So, I loved what I seen from Joshua Williams. He got in there and held it down. We didn't hear too much more going crazy from Jacoby Myers and the rest of those guys. They were kind of dumping it off to the backs and getting leaky yardage. So I love what I see from Joshua Williams. We know Joshua Williams can play. We know you have it in you. We wanted you to come in and be that person. Let's be honest. We wanted you to be L'Jarius Sneed. That's what we thought you were. But they said Najee Johnson was L'Jarius Sneed. So we like, okay, so we want Najee Johnson. So come to find out, you actually can play and you can put it together. So I love what I see from Joshua Williams. I think it's just a confidence thing. I think I want him to continue to play out there. I think Najee Johnson needs to get his legs back up under him. And once he gets his legs back up under him, he may be a little bit better. And that may help Shamari Connor some, being that he has to play and then he got benched. And if he starts to come back on later in the season, they probably be able to take Shamari out of that slot role and kind of keep him from getting burnt. So I love what I've seen from Joshua Williams, though. He really stepped up big today when we needed him the most because Najee was getting roasted. Justin Reed got roasted too, but we know Justin Reed. He'll get roasted, but he'll make a hit. So,
well, no matter who was on, Brock Bowers or Jacoby Myers was the one who was getting exploited. So a lot of our secondary and linebackers, it's like that group, but we've identified it as that like secondary, second safety, nickel, cornerback 2. It like we've attributed to there, and it's just amazing that the combination of Watson and Sneed was just enough to like give this Chiefs like this overconfidence that they're like, no, Najee Johnson's good, Joshua Williams is good, we'll be fine, we can make do. And it's been a struggle, and we really hope that the Chiefs do not have their season ended by one of these two blemishes on their roster, in their offensive line and in their secondary, and more like one specific spot on the secondary too. So the Chiefs have a couple extra days. They get to watch the Chargers and reflect that they had to play the Chargers when the Chargers were not at full capacity. They barely had Justin Herbert in that game in general. They didn't have their starting tackles for that game. So the Chargers are going to be even more amped to play us. It's Sunday night, Harbaugh's first game in Arrowhead. So that's going to be a tough matchup. But the Chiefs have escaped Arrowhead this Black Friday, defeating the Raiders 19-17, stopping the final drive and getting that lucky turnover with 11 seconds left to come out ahead. Guys, what are your final thoughts about this game? And we'll go ahead and close it out.
Yeah, overall happy with the victory. Not happy with the victory, sorry. I'm happy that we won. Thankful that we won. We got out of here by the hair on our chinny chin chin. Thank you so much for being vigilant football players and paying attention when the ball is snapped and the loose ball happens and you recover a fumble. You guys lucked up until win today. Don't do that next week. You're not going to be able to continue to do this for the rest of the year. Figure out your problems. Go back to the drawing board. And get the answers to the test. I know you guys have the answers and you can figure it out. You showed it before. Even Jawan Taylor on the outside and on the playoff run. So they have the answers. The Chiefs just have to get back to the board and figure it out. I think they will figure it out too down the stretch. I'm not panicking yet until we see G.J. Humphries.
Tough win. At least we was able to get the win. We was able to clinch the playoffs, so satisfied with that. But we got some improvement. We got some things to do, and hopefully next week against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, we can see that offense. Of course, get it together. Rise. Hopefully, we see a change at left tackle as well too. No, not going at Wanye Morris or Kingsley or anything like that, but it's still some room for improvement and get better. But overall, hey, at least we got out of here with a win. Tough one next week, but we got ways to go. And who knows? Chargers lose this week. We win next week. We can go ahead and clinch the division along with our playoff clinch as well too. So, yep, that's all I have for that.
And I'll sum up my thoughts with a being funny, I guess. Not really a joke, but joking around. I could just be like the Chiefs and not give you guys any content until mid-December, maybe like the last 2 weeks of December. Maybe like that's when the Chiefs actually care about their football and the games they play. So I could be like the Chiefs and have just said, yes, the season has started, but not really. The Chiefs season doesn't actually start until December. So just like it doesn't actually start until after Thanksgiving. So if the Chiefs season started, then last couple of weeks have been quite an experience. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you know that most games have been very close and you're tired of seeing that. You're ready to see this team flat out be dominant. And unfortunately, that's not been the case. So here's hoping next couple weeks we start clearing up. But all that being said, I will be back tomorrow for a video for you guys breaking down this Chiefs win, this narrow Chiefs win. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Black Friday evening. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. And as always, go Chiefs!
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.